Hello, hello, friends. Welcome. We are here for our community coaching time, and my name is Stacie Fletcher. I'm super excited to be here and excited to have you join me. So this week we are talking about. Uh, I actually said we are talking about relationships. We're actually talking about making decisions. So this week our work is on making decisions, and this has been super, super helpful work to me. And so this week, our Monday mindset was if I knew I would be wildly successful, I would want to blank. And when we look at different future options in our life, when we have kind of like, here's one path that we can go to, and here's another path that we can go to, and we're looking at these decisions to go after goals, maybe their career decisions, maybe their relationship decisions, but we're looking at different futures that we would want to experience, we would want to create. And sometimes what gets very difficult is tuning out the fear so that we are in a place where we can really listen to and hear and understand our actual desires. And so one of the exercises that can be really helpful in trying to make a decision about something you would want to do, or maybe it's even just trying to set a goal, is envisioning the future as if it just works out in all the ways that you would want it to. So you look at one side and you envision that future, and you just tell your brain, like, we're just playing around. We're just trying to see what's possible here. We're just playing around. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to make any decision based on this. We're just kind of playing around here. Sorry about that. Hold on one moment. All right. And so then you play around and envision a future on one side of the decision. So let's say, you're trying to decide between two things, you pick one of those things and you just pretend like, okay, I did this thing and it all worked out in all the ways that I wanted to. It got like everything, maybe it didn't all go perfectly, but everything ended up really well. I was wildly successful at it. It was exactly everything that I wanted. All of these things ended up working out really well. It just was fantastic. And play it out in your head and think about the details. What would you be like? What kind of person would you be in that scenario? And really kind of play with that future. What kind of relationship would you have? What kind of feelings would you have around the success or around that thing? And then do the same with the other decision. Play out that decision as far and as fast as or not far as fast, but just as far as you can. And what would that be like? And what are all the ways that that would be amazing? And you were wildly successful and it was everything you wanted it to be. And then compare those two futures and ask yourself, of those, what would I want? And just let yourself answer. There is no right answer, wrong answer. You're just trying to tune in and understand what future you would really want to experience, what future you would really want to create. If all the things went well and all the ways worked out. Now, here's the thing. That doesn't mean that then that's the decision that you have to make. It just means that you're in tune. You've got an important piece of information, which is understanding what it is that you really want. And once you know what you really want, apart from all the fears that are getting in the way of going after that, then you can decide and evaluate if the fears are enough of a reason to hold you back from doing it. Like once oh, I would really want that. Or maybe, I would really want both of those futures. And then in that case, that either decision is fantastic. Most of the time I've experienced this, you kind of have both would be great, but if I had to choose, I would choose such and such. Like a lot of times it's pretty easy because what you're right now, when you're looking at a decision and you're trying to figure things out, most of the time you are what you're dealing with is all of the fears about it. Most of the time, it's the things that most of the times the reason that you are not able to make a decision is because you're comparing the fears of one decision against the fears of another decision. And instead, if you can look at the things that you want out of it, then you can really be in touch with what it is that you want to do. And then you can go back and you can decide if being uncomfortable moving through those fears, if taking the risks that you would need to take to get to that want is worth it to you. And that decision can be no. It doesn't mean that just because you've decided that it's something you want to do, that it's something you need to do. But it's a really, really important piece of information. And it's a piece of information that we tend to not give credit to. Um, it's a piece of information that we tend to like not view as important. And so we don't value what we want as an important piece of information in the process, most of the time because we're often not really able to make a good connection with it and understand what it is. But that being said, even when we are able to understand that it's what we really want, a lot of times we don't view that as important. And I just want to say that doing something because you want to is amazing. And we are afraid that our wants are going to be selfish, that our wants are, something we shouldn't pay attention to, that our wants are going to maybe hurt another person, any of those kinds of things. And in that fear, we tend to not be willing to follow through with that want. But I just really want to encourage you that wanting to do something is one of the best reasons to do it, because it's getting in touch with that inner voice. It's honoring that inner part of you. It's honoring the core of who you are and the things that you really desire to do, and being willing to go after the hard things and experiencing discomfort to pursue the things that you really want in life is one of the best reasons to do it. And so I hope that's really helpful. If any of you have any questions, you can put them down in the Q&A. But really what we love to do during this time is coach people live. And so if you have anything that you'd like to be coached on, if you just raise your hand, I can bring you on as a panelist, and then I'll coach you live here, and we can do that. So I'm going to give just a minute. Put anything you want in the chat, or anything that you want in, or if you want to be coached, raise your hand. And while you're doing that, I'll just kind of wrap up with this. I actually said that we'd be talking about relationships. And so here's how this results in relationships. A lot of times we spend a lot of time in kind of mind drama about whether or not we should be in a relationship or not. Even when we're married, a lot of people kind of, did I make the right decision? Did I marry the right person? Is this marriage still something I really want? Like, we spend a lot of time trying to decide whether or not, a relationship is something we really want. And so I think using this same kind of decision thing of like, if this relationship was able to just work out in all of the ways, it was a wildly successful relationship. It was really able to be all the things you wanted to be with that person exactly as they are. So here's one of the things we often think, like, oh, if I could change the circumstance, I would feel differently. But we can't change another human being. We can't change another situation. So if this person stayed just how they are, but I was just really able to enjoy and love them and work on myself in this situation, like, is this something that I would really want? Or if I envision a future without them and I was able to just really enjoy being without them. It's not necessarily helpful to enjoy an imaginary other person, because every other person is also going to come with baggage and issues. And so you're just looking at a future where you're not with them, or a future where you are with them, and a future where you're not with them and you're very happy, and a future where you're with them and you're very happy, and kind of, but they don't change. They are exactly as they are. Sometimes that can really give you some insights into your own heart and your own desires. It's important not to, I just want to make a comment about abusive relationships. It's important not to use this against yourself. Like, it's okay to decide, like, no, I don't want to be in this kind of situation. Um, and like that's an okay decision. A lot of times in this kind of mind work that we use, when we really talk about the way that you feel comes from what you're thinking. And so if you want to feel differently within a relationship, you need to think differently about the person. But sometimes you don't want to think differently. Like if you think, I am not okay with being emotionally abused, sometimes you don't want to think any differently than that. And that's okay too. Like becoming aware of what you're thinking is really helpful. It doesn't mean you have to change it. Sometimes how you're thinking, how you're feeling is exactly how you want. And so that's where it can be really helpful to play out both situations without the fear, and really look into that. So all right. So far, I don't see anything in the chat and I don't see any hands raised, but I hope that the little bit was helpful there. So just to recap, when we're looking at making decisions for our future, letting our minds play and just looking at each decision as if it is going to be wildly successful, and we're going to be very happy and it's going to work out all the ways that we would want it to work out. And then playing that same thing out in the other decision, and then looking at those two futures and choosing between them. And then deciding if that want is something that you're willing to go through the fear, the discomfort, the hard things of getting to that want, and whether or not it's worth it to you. So I hope that's helpful today. If you're watching a replay of this, feel free to pop anything down in the comments below, questions, comments, thoughts, and we can either answer you there, you can pop on next week to our community coaching call, and I can coach you live on that. Hope you guys have a great week. Thanks. Bye-bye.